God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks for coming out on this day. But I'd like to call for the approval of the agenda. Everybody had a chance to look at it? So moved. All in favor? Approval of the minutes. The last meeting. On the minutes, yeah.
Move to accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Second?
Discussion.
Yes, discussion.
I was reading through this under old business. Mr. Stevens moved that at our earliest convenience, a special meeting called the entire board and landscapes unlimited to ask questions. Mr. Renaud said he was working on a report of their meeting. If after that is still needed, we will call a special meeting. Mr. Collins seconded. Mr. Thompson reminded them that the board will have the opportunity for this exact request during the budget process. Mr. Stevens disagreed, kept the original motion, and the motion was passed 5-2. Okay, now the thing I understand is I want to make sure that everybody and that's correct in everybody's mind, because what I understand now is that in fact the meeting will be held sometime around budget meeting, as Mr. Thompson suggested to begin.
Point of order, Mr. President. We're discussing the meeting, the minutes here. If the minutes are correct, then I don't know why why we're discussing something that's not in the minutes.
Well, the reason would be because I want to understand that the board agrees that these minutes are correct. They are. I mean, that's everybody's recollection of what happened is what's written there. Okay, that's my point.
Any other discussion about the motion?
I already made a
You did. I'm sorry. I seconded. Okay. All those approved, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. My remarks, I have a few things I'd like to say. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the passing of, I think it's Marie Oostvin, is that right? Oostvin? Oostvin. Yeah. That's Dutch's wife. If you all know Dutch, it's kind of most of me. I'd like to mention that she had a long time on the Alzheimer's. And that's the reason why he's not here today. So I'd like to have just a moment of silence. Thank you. The second issue I'd like to point out, we had a closed session meeting this morning. We have approved the changes and everything made to the Sandpiper agreement by a vote of 5-2 on the board, and Bob Thompson will discuss in full detail the general manager's report. Okay, the next thing on my thing is my remarks, and that is I'd just like to read into the record where I sent to the fellow director. Following our last board meeting on November 19th, I received several complaints from members of our association about the lack of meeting. I became the president with the goal of redirect more civil to one another, listen peacefully to each other's concerns, and finally vote upon which course of action we wish to take. This has not occurred, as both the rhetoric and rancor has increased at each meeting. If we truly wish to serve our constituents, these practices have to stop. In the future, I intend to have shorter agendas that last only 2 hours. To accomplish that, we will have to stick to the topic, rid ourselves of complimentary remarks about fellow members. Everyone can certainly have a say about any issue, but interrupting a fellow director and/or raising your voice is not acceptable behavior. I promise to do my best to better control the meeting in the future. to do this, I need full cooperation. And I ended by saying, if you have questions about this, I necessarily contact. Last thing I just want to mention is an excerpt, very short excerpt out of the Robert's Rules called Quorum Debate. I'm just going to read. To obtain the floor, this is when you're going to have it. To obtain the floor, the member must stand and address the chairperson by saying, Mr. Madam, or Madam Chairperson, Mr. President. The chairperson recognizes the member by saying the member's name. The member may then introduce a motion for debate. General rules of debate are: the speaker must be recognized by the chairperson before speaking. The speaker cannot usually speak for more than 10 minutes unless the members decide otherwise. Members should not speak more than twice on a motion. The chairperson cannot close the debate before every member who wishes to speak is able within a reasonable period of time. Everyone must adhere to decorum, carrying on the debate in an orderly manner without personal attacks on other members. Members can also adhere to decorum by confining their statements and remarks to the merits of the pending question, not outside the scope of the question. Not attacking a member's motives for speaking and for or against or presenting a motion. Addressing all statements and remarks through the chairperson. Addressing the speaker or the chairperson correctly. Never use you, but always refer to the speaker or the chairperson, third person. Avoiding the use of members' names. Not speaking adversely on a prior action that isn't pending and has already been final. Refraining from speaking against his or her own action. Reading from reports or quotations only without objection or with permission. A member may read from reports or quotations with the chairperson's permission as long as no other member objects. Continuing to stand, we don't use stand. The chairperson addresses him or her directly during an interruption. Refraining from disturbing the assembly during debate. The chairperson has guidelines for decorum as well. The chairperson should always refer to him or her himself in the third person. When reporting in his or her presidential capacity, the chairperson must speak of him or herself, your president. The chairperson does not refer to a member's name, only referring to him or her in the third person. Will the speaker. The chairperson may refer to a member by name when assigning the floor. However, the chairperson must not participate in the debate except through the vice president. Those are Robert's rules. Try to follow them. A lot of people think I don't say a lot. One of the reasons I don't say it because I'm supposed to be the arbiter, supposed to be the person in between the situation. So we'll try to have better meetings, and hopefully everyone here will be a little bit happier with the result. That's all I have to say. Moving on, the general manager's report. Bob?
Good morning. Good morning back. We'll try that again. Good morning. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Thank you. Yes, sir. It's getting thicker and thicker. Yeah, I did that for you. You'll find it's not long as it looks thick. So run some things real quick for everyone for this month. Just a reminder, capital projects that we're working on. St. Martin's, Mangum Meadows, Bridges, Sports Core, Pool, and White Horse Park bathrooms. I do want to hand out, there's no action item on this at this point, but the St. Martin's project, if you recall, this is a project that was identified with the Drainage Committee, and Jack, you'll be more familiar than most with this. But this was to help alleviate some of the backlog drainage that occurs in St. Martin's during heavy rainstorms. In doing that, we worked with the county to develop a particular strategy, which the strategy basically involves replacing pipes that cross St. Martin's Road. Typically, we, being the Public Works team, can address those type of issues, pipe replacement, but because that's one of the main thoroughfares, it's the truck route, road cannot be closed because we need access at all times. We decided to go ahead and put this out to bid to get some ideas what it costs to go ahead and have a third party who specializes in this work do the pipe replacement. We use the county specs for the pipe size. Basically, it increased the current, the pipe that's a 15-inch pipe to 24-inch piping. That's what went out in the RFP and the specs. You have a copy of what I just handed you is a copy of the information from the RFP, which includes our analyzing the document, the documents that came in, and two particular bidders, with one in particular as a recommendation. I'm not asking for any action on this at this point because you just received it. So I will come back at the next board meeting and ask for any additional comments, questions, and action to move this particular project. So this is just for you all to have some time to review it and go over it. You'd have had it a little bit sooner, but when we got the actual bids back and we started to look at them, a couple things came up that I didn't think were addressed. So I went down and spoke with John Ross in particular down here at Wastewater Treatment to discuss some of the utility concerns that we had. So been through that, and that's why I want to make sure I get that today. All right, so that's just kind of a highlight of where things are. Just gave those.
To clarify, Bob, what you're anticipating us to do is for us to read this and you to us for a vote in our next.
Well, I will come for input, yes. The project is not a funded project, or is it a budget project? Okay, but it was one that was identified by the Drainage Committee and asked to proceed with options to cure the issue. So that's what we've done.
So we don't have to vote on this.
Not today, sir, no.
No, I mean today.
For a project like this, yes, I would need guidance and to do so if we chose to affect that. Yes, sir.
This is a capital. Well, let me ask the question. Is it a capital replacement?
Is it it would be part of our drainage project. As we replace drainage pipes, is our typical.
Yeah. Well, we also have a golf drainage. It's not.
It is not part of the reserve component of golf drainage.
So when you pay for it, your assets are funded, it will come out of the replacement reserve.
I will have a final recommendation where to come out, but more than likely, yes, sir, replacement reserve, because we are replacing pipes that are.
Will come out of what formally called the historic replacement. Yeah.
That would be replacement reserve.
So when you come to us, probably, you'll say this will come out of the replacement.
Yeah, I'll have the financing solution of where we would draw the funds, unless the board directs otherwise.
So let me just point out that we've had this discussion some time. We're going to have it again very soon. But that this is a good example of something where, whether it's budget or not budget, we have the authority and we have money to be able to tell you just go ahead, Bob, take money from the historical reserve. Just pointing that out. It's not written down anywhere or anything like that, but we can still do it and move ahead. Okay? That's my own point.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yes, sir. Please. Mr. Collins.
And snarky back.
No, I'm not. I'm following directions.
There you is.
As far as this particular issue is concerned, couldn't this be considered a standard maintenance issue rather than a true capital replacement?
Yes, sir, it could. That's what I say. I'm not making the recommendation of how to finance it at this point. I'll have that recommendation at the next board meeting. I wanted to make sure that I provided the board the information we had at this time. Okay.
Any other comment? We proceed.
Budget is just a reminder of the upcoming budget process. I've had some questions on that. Budget books were provided to the board members as well as the budget finance committee for January. That's a Monday following the holiday weekend. 11 through 14 January budget review sessions begin. The first set of sessions once again, is with Budget Finance Committee and myself and departments. Budget Finance Committee, typically that Thursday they're wrapping up, and Friday they come up with any final recommendations, and they'll provide that to the Board of Directors. The board, then we begin, myself and the board going, the same process begins again with you all, and that'll happen the week following the one with Budget Finance. So I just want to make sure I pointed that out there. Once the board has gone through that, we've come up with any changes, then a presentation will occur on that Saturday, and it's a public presentation. We present the budget to our membership with the goal of 25 February, which is the board meeting voting to approve the budget. It's kind of the timeline and goal that some folks asked about, so I just wanted to remind everyone of how that process works. Okay, and the meetings are open meetings, so anyone, board members can attend the meetings that we're having to be an F committee, and many do, as well as our membership can attend any of these.
Yes, sorry, Charles?
And for clarity, these meetings are being held where?
Shouldn't she be standing?
Oh, Jack.
No, well,
No, I'm waiving that rule. I'm waiving that rule.
Oh,
You can
okay.
if you want
Okay.
to.
Well, I want to know.
I'm waiving that.
Okay. All
You
right.
said that
Yes, ma'am.
the
I didn't hear the
location.
full question.
What is the location?
Oh, the country club. I'm sorry, second floor of the country club. And we'll make sure that this will be published on website times and who we're meeting with at
For
what
those of
time.
you new members, there's plenty to eat too.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was just looking at this in advance, in anticipation of my calendar.
I'm recognized.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's fine. Okay, I mean, this is the, our regular calendar.
Yes, sir.
Michelle does, so I'm just
Oh,
checking.
gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
So the first thing I see on the budget is January 4th, 9:30 a.m. GM budget presentation. Now, you were referring to something before that?
No, that's the fourth. That was the first thing I remarked on. That's when
Okay.
you're actually presented with the books, the 3-ring binders.
Okay.
I give just a general overview. That's a very short, brief meeting. The board actually gets their books to start going through. I'll give a brief overview. At the same time, the Budget Finance Committee will receive their books. So it's really distribution of the materials and just a very brief general overview. It's not a lot of detail. Any other questions?
Yeah. Please proceed.
And of course, if something comes up, call me or email me for any other clarification. All right, by the numbers. These are obviously unaudited numbers, but ouch. All right, well, you can't see them all in there, but it is in your packet. We're actually, the bottom line, I was going to spend a lot of time because it's in the controller's report anyway. Bottom line, we're performing ahead of budget in the majority of the areas. The only two areas are red on the far right column that's on the sheet, but you actually have it in your pamphlet. The top column, the 58,000, the majority of that relates to the bad debt account, slightly over, as well as, and the 29,000 in red is the golf operations, and that's against budget. So you have those numbers. Numbers overall are looking, pretty good right now. So we feel good as we roll into the last of this year, and we roll into January. We'll see what January brings. Okay, kind of the big one. I'm going to go through this. The board, as Mr. Rennell brought up, the board did approve to the final contract with Sandpiper Energy to bring natural gas to the Ocean Pines community. So that's a pretty exciting thing to be able to announce today. I'm going to try to give just some brief bullets out of there. The board's aware of these, but this was a good time to go ahead and include it in the report. Had we not finalized it today, I would just skip these slides. But since it's an approved, the board approved it in a closed session and it was announced, I'll go ahead and speak to it. Yes, sir.
Before you speak, I'd like to point out Bob has done an excellent job. Cheryl, some legal background, and he really worked hard with the Sandpiper people. They had a one-on-one negotiation, which is the way it should be, not board to board. So he did an excellent job, and I think you'll see the results. I think you'll be happy.
Thank you for that comment. Okay, agreement's been reached. Let's start back. If you recall, in June, the board put me on the path to work directly with the Sandpiper team. I engaged with them. And for the board members, some of this is just all of it's actually a recap, but I'm giving it in the general manager's report, so the membership also now has the opportunity to know what's occurred. So I've been working with directly with Sandpiper, Mr. Steve Thompson, no relation. So before anyone says, is he an uncle, a brother, or whatever, no, there's no relation. But Steve and I started to work together. Our primary goal through the process when we were working through this was to reach a fair, balanced, comprehensive settlement package that met both short-term and long-term issues that were raised as it pertains to natural gas bringing it to the OPA. So that was sort of the thrust of what we started with when we started to meet back in late June, early July. There have been many, many iterations, a lot of comments back and forth. The end result was bringing a number of different pieces to the table, brought it forward at different stopping points or check marks to share where we stood. The board made recommendations, and then we proceed to the next step from there. So the final result is what we'll see here. We have an overall comprehensive agreed settlement agreement. It's overarching. Talk about bringing basically the settlement agreement talks about bringing Sandpiper to the OPA community, and within that there are three different elements that are included in that agreement. One is the ground lease, the second one is the services agreement, and the third one is a deed of easement. And I'm going to cover each of those very, very briefly. All right, the ground lease itself. The ground lease provides for space on OPA grounds, and the space is for an injection of compressed natural gas or propane into the Sandpiper underground pipe distribution system. And basically, when they do maintenance or if they have an issue, they need to have a spot to connect to their pipeline and force product into the pipeline. So part of the agreement is to carve out specific space for them to do so. We've identified space in the public works yard, so it's not going to be accessible to the general membership, but it's where they can come and do some work to it. In addition to that, they'll store temporary propane tanks as they're going through the conversion process with us. They'll have equipment in and out, so that provides them some space to do so. So that was part of what the ground lease incorporates. The last piece that they'll keep there, and that will stay long term, is storage of emergency repair equipment. Just some things that they might need in case of emergency that they can have quick access to right here in the community. So we felt that was appropriate and worked to everyone's advantage, to theirs, so they can have all the tools they need here to execute the conversion as quickly as possible and keep our community safe. And for that, we're receiving some financial benefit. First, it's a 10-year term. Second, we'll begin receiving a monthly fee of $1,350, which ends up being total value of the 10 years to the Ocean Pines Association of $162,000. Services agreement. This is the second agreement associated with the contract. OPA, the details of this particular agreement, OPA shall provide access to the association website, newsletter, and marketing staff for purposes of providing direct communications to our residents. Whenever we've made a change, and most recent significant change that we made was when we changed trash and recycling companies. We've found through multiple changes like that, the biggest part we have is making sure our members understand and know what's going on with the process. We talked in great detail with the Sandpiper team on how it would affect that information flow back and forth. So engaging with them proactively, creating a page on our website where they can push information out that our members can go on, take a look, figure out what's going on. We thought that was important. We do that with other relationships now, such as the trash recycling company. In this particular case, we're going to receive some financial benefit from it as well. So it's a win-win from our membership standpoint. They'll be able to get accurate, updated information. It's a win for us because hopefully the information will be more readily available to our membership. So it's not ringing at the membership desk, phone calls so frequently. And third, there's some financial benefit to the community for that. We will assist Sandpiper for the process of converting gas customers, and that's basically we'll provide some space. They want to come out and start doing some community meetings, be able to give updates and those type of things. So we'll assist them with that, providing space, i.e. here in the ASTIC as an example. We've had these hearings before. We do it with MediaCom on a regular basis. So we've built that into this agreement. So some of the financial benefits, some of the terms of the agreement, it's a 5-year term for this particular part of the agreement. There's a monthly fee of $500 associated with that. Total value to OPA is approximately $30,000 over the 5-year period of time. Last part of the agreement is the deed of easement. What the deed of easement basically talks about is where their existing pipeline is, roadways and common areas. It grants them perpetual, non-exclusive easement across, in, and under all roads and common areas located within Ocean Pine. Basically, where they currently have the existing pipeline, it grants them an easement to continue to have that pipeline in operation. In terms of that, this particular one is perpetual, which means it's basically ongoing as long as they're in business. They will be paying us a one-time fee for the easement on the roads of $41,000. That number was derived from a third-party appraiser. Actually, they appraised property for this type of work, the easement work. The second part of it, which is the second part of the one-time fee, is $93,000, and that's for the common area easement. For the combination of those two easements will be paid a lump sum up front from Sandpiper to the Ocean Pines Association. Total value to the community is $134,000. Just some quick highlights. Payments begin 30 days after execution of the contract, so that should be sometime at the end of January, 1st of February. Work should begin within 90 days of execution of the contracts. Again, we just executed today, so that clock will actually, the goal is to start effective for these timeframes starting January 1. The benefit to the community is we're finally bringing the alternative fuel source for our residents. Sorry about the 2 T's, for those that are paying attention. And the residents, this was a 8:30 last night trying to play with it. So last part was total value to OPA for everything that we just discussed is $394,750. The numbers I gave you earlier don't add up to that amount, short the attorney's fees. And that's the only thing I didn't put on the slides. They had agreed to cover all of our legal and attorney's fees associated, ones that have occurred up to this point, and ones in the final review of the documents. So we've effectively established a relationship with them and covered our costs to do so. So that is kind of the basics of the Sandpiper agreements. Once all the contracts have been formally stamped and signed off on, they'll become available, obviously, for our membership. But I just wanted to hit kind of the highlights.
Question for Dave?
Stevens?
Yeah, now that the agreement is finalized, voted on it this morning.
Yes, sir. Just need to sign. I mean, they all need to be signed today.
Okay, once the agreement's signed, it will post it on our.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
That's it. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you. Do you have anything else in the report?
No, we will have some CPI, but we'll get to those in a few minutes. Would you like me to cover them before public comment?
No. There's no response. Okay, any public comment? Please step up to the mic and identify yourself and
Good morning. My name is John McNult. Address 1101 Ocean Parkway. Just a comment. I was almost afraid to bring this up this morning, but going back to golf a little bit and running in the events of the past few months through my mind, something that occurred to me that I'd like to ask the board to put on their agenda at some point. And I think it's time that we established a golf advisory committee in the same frame that we have 12, 13 other advisory committees in the association. That being said, would leave that up to the board of what steps we would have to go, what the association would have to go to get it established and staff. Thank you.
thank you. Or someone else? Yes, sir. Please step up.
Hi, good morning. My name is Andrew Park. I am Scotland Yards Landscape.
Address, sir. Address?
I'm not an Ocean Pines resident.
Well, we can just. Go ahead.
Thank you. I want to bring something to your attention about the recycling area that south here.
Pull that mic up or hold it up.
You're not telling me.
That's it. That's good. Yeah.
About the recycling center that south here at Ocean Pines for recycled leaves and branches, that kind of thing. It's a great service for Ocean Pines, but also it's been used to benefit other companies that are for hire services or dumping it. We have a landscape with the police facility and manage the for recycling. But Ocean Pines companies, they don't have signs on the truck. To dump their lump, so it's just seeing this is thought to implement some sort of procedure by verified dump.
I'll address it because I was down there 4 times last week, and I thought the same exact thing. There were trailers in there. The guys were unloading, and I see them around all over the place. They're commercial. They shouldn't be in there dumping as far as I'm concerned. Yes, I know they're dumping residents' leaves, but 1, we don't know that, and 2, if they're commercial, they're paying these people for I'm sure they're charging them a dumping fee and just putting it in their pocket. I totally agree with this gentleman that something needs to be done. Like I say, I was down there 4 times and waited in line 4 times for a lot of trailers and other things. Of when there's 3 or 4 guys jumping off a trailer, they're a company and they're dumping it in our area. Totally agree. Thanks.
Dave, did you have it? Did you raise your hand? Oh, so, anybody else? Somebody else, yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Chris Wanzer, W-A-N-Z-E-R, and I live at 21 Cape May Place over in the park. As the vice president of our park HOA board of directors, I'm here today representing our 503 resident homes that we have in the park. Donna McCracken, our president, we have a scheduling conflict today, and that's why I'm here. And the rest of the board, which we have board members here, as well as Mr. Tom Piatti, the chief of our operations committee. Wanted to talk to you briefly about a problem that we've had in the park and that we've tried to coordinate with Ocean Pines Association. And that is, and it's not a big deal, but it's still a necessary deal because we feel that it's a safety issue with our more mature residents that we have over at the park. And that is line painting in the walkways on the streets of our road. Our means OPA. We are a part of you, and we feel that that's a necessary part of our safety to try and walk there in the park and enjoy ourselves. In September 2014, and I just want to give you a little briefing so that I'm not coming here crying or anything else saying that we haven't tried to solve this issue. In September 2014, our GM and Mr. Tom Piatti, our chief of operations, met with Mr. Eddie Wells to discuss this issue as well as other issues. It was a very good meeting. We cleared several topics of discussion with drainage and other items. And we also asked them about the line painting. And we went a step further and we said, we would really like to have, if at all possible, yellow lines, because it appears that there's nothing that we can do about it other than the Ocean Pines police, is maybe drivers will take heed of a yellow solid line more so than a white line. Right now, most of our lines are almost invisible. And again, you know, with us mature folks having a hard time seeing and other things, we really would like it painted. In the spring of 2015, we have not heard anything or had any official notification or unofficial that we were going to be able to accomplish this project. And so we were told then in the spring that it was still a viable project. The third item here in November, this past November, we were told that there was no money in the budget for this project. Even though we looked in the what was posted online with the OPA budget, there appeared to be, and I'm no budget expert, $17,000 for this year, last year, such as that maybe it's there for other reasons or was already used up. I'm not slamming that at all, just trying to understand the situation and how to play the game. We were told that the OPA does line painting every 3 years and that no one knows why the park was omitted the last line painting procedure or a line painting job that was done here in Ocean Pines. This prompted a hand-delivered letter by our president, Donna McCracken, to all of you board members, Mr. Thompson, general manager, expressing our concern of not being able to get anything done to get a firm date, if that's at all possible, from you. Say, we're coming on such and such a date. Whoops, it rained, it snowed. We understand that, but we have heard nothing yet. Yesterday, before our board meeting, our GM gets a text message from your GM, Mr. Thompson, stating that the OPA would paint the lines as we requested, and that he found money in the budget to accomplish this project. Granted, we are very excited, very pleased that this project will come to fruition, but why do we have to wait until spring? In our letter to you, the board, and the GM, we wanted it painted or done as soon as possible or for the end of the year. This has been now about a year and 3 months. In addition, we feel the manner in which we were given the information is not appropriate. We feel that if our president and a board felt concerned enough to express our concerns to you, the board of OPA, and to the president, that we would in turn like to get a letter back from the president or the board or however that you manage things, and it would be a common courtesy for you to tell us when it's going to be happening. We acknowledge your letter. We know that this is a problem, but we feel that it can't be done until February, March, or here's the reasons why. We would like a commitment out of you. And you say, we told you that it's going to be there. Well, if it's not in writing, gentlemen and ladies, it doesn't happen. And we would like to have information coming from you as a guarantee, not a guarantee, nothing's guaranteed but death and taxes. So we've kind of been told it'll be soon, but we would like you to respond to our president, to our request. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come and address you. We'd like to have a working relationship with you, and we continue to do so. We will strive, and if it's something that we have done, then please let us know, because we'll be happy to work with you. Thank you, Mr. Renaud.
I know Mr. Thompson told me that we are going to proceed. Bob, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, they've been told it's going to be done from myself to their GM, which is the appropriate action. So if they want a board-to-board letter, that's their request.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll do it. But the question of time, is that
It'll be in the spring when we do line painting for the parkway, and it's warmer, and paint appears better. We just had an unusually warm fall, but we usually plan the painting for lines is usually a spring project. It adheres better.
You will get a letter from me, and that letter will tell you we'll commit ourselves to paying.
Thank you, I really appreciate it.
Any other comments? Okay. Then we'll go down to the no capital purchases request. Now we have CPI violation.
All right, we have 3, and I also want to, it's not on here, but I do want to give you an update on one we effective last month. It's not here as a new violation, but I try to bring it back and give you an update. So if we can start with 105 Sandy Road. You can see the conditions of the property. You see the picture of the trash in the yard. Our course of action will be next to send the letter to the attorney for they would send the letter saying it needs to be resolved between a certain time frame, and if that does not occur, then our next step would to effect a change here would be enter onto the property ourselves and do the cleanup. Again, the only concern there is what is trash and what is considered personal property. So our recommendation for the first one is send to the attorney's office, find a continuing violation, send it to the attorney's office for legal action.
I'll make a motion.
Make a motion.
Yes.
Second.
Find them in continual violation and send it to the attorney's for action.
Dave, second.
Yeah.
Next one is 15 Castle Drive.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Reno, no action. Just take no further action. First and second, open up discussion.
Oh.
Need to vote to take that action or otherwise. No, sir. First and second. The first was to make a motion to accept our recommendation and to find them in continuing violation. Seconded by Mr. Stevens. Now you need the entire body to make a vote to take that action, sir.
Vote, take the action.
Call the question.
All
All in favor?
say aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'm sorry, Bob.
Fine, sir. Mr. Stevens, did you abstain from that vote, sir? I didn't see any hand. For, okay, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. I'll excuse me for that.
No.
Do I have to be recognized as the same was a unanimous vote?
Yes.
Second.
Okay.
Next item would be 15 Castle Drive. The fence was erected. You see a picture of it, no permit. We tried to reach out to speak to them. We'd like, our recommendation is to handle the maintenance. You see the maintenance, the mold on the side of the building as well. So we'd like to send this one, find them in continuing violation, and send this to our attorney to send a letter to effect action.
The question.
Yes, sir.
Note in here about implies who actually owns the property. Has that been resolved? The note reads that another person owns the property.
The phone number that was provided is not. I need a first.
I move that the health continuing violation of the action.
Second, sir.
Second.
Question, those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
79 Boston Drive. A deck was erected on the facility, or on the back of it. However, no permit was sought at the time when they erected the deck, so they're in violation. We recommend you find it in continuing violation and send to the attorney legal action.
Carol?
I have a question. When a person,
I'm sorry, we need a first and second, and we'll discussion.
Right.
I mean, if we want to follow the.
All guidelines, go ahead. Motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Continue violation and send to the attorney direction.
Second.
I'm sorry, Cheryl.
Discussion.
When a person erects a fence or puts up a deck that's done without permit, is the remedy that?
They would come in and apply for the permit. We check it. We look at we pull the plat on it, make sure the deck is in compliance. It's not crossing lines, any concern with that, and then issue the permit. It's not in violation. It's not a hard process.
The permit request is to OPA, not the county.
It's the one that we're affecting is to OPA.
Any other questions?
12 questions. Oh, yeah, just a second.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Yeah, this came up. So we're just sending back to another letter.
Well, this time it'll come from our legal counsel. We've sent them letters from the association. They have not responded. So our next thing is to elevate it and send it to our attorney, and they will send a formal letter demanding it to be cured.
It has, and their letter has been received.
Yes, sir.
They have to.
So we're just going to put another.
It's a more formal letter coming from counsel.
And that'll won't add to the on this property.
No, but any cost associated with it will
No,
take
that's
time.
right.
Yes, sir.
Nothing.
Call for question?
Aye. All right, the last one, just briefly, and it's not in your packet. You asked us to affect 42 Ocean Parkway last month to go on property if we felt, if we had guidance from our attorney that we could go on the property. Head of our Public Works and myself actually walked the entire property. Mr. Wells we took a lot more pictures of it. When we did, we also forwarded to our attorney to validate that it was indeed considered trash and not, personal property. We got guidance from them, and then we went onto property and removed the items. Two things occurred. We left one item on property that you should be aware of. There was a hot tub in the backyard that's disconnected. It was being used. There was a lot of debris stored in the hot tub. We removed the debris, but we did not remove the hot tub. During the time when our teams were there to remove this, the owner of the property effected an assault on one of our Public Works teams. So our staff was reported to the police department and pursuing criminal action for that individual. That's all I have, sir.
When did this happen from? Sorry.
Last week.
Last week, okay.
Yes,
very, very current.
Thank you. Is that a trespass? Is there any old business? Any old business? Beyond a new business and discussion of the park letter. I think we have discussed that. Want to discuss it further, Dave?
No, I'll just mention that I was asked by a couple of graduates here. They had sent the letter to each one of our inboxes, so we had it. They heard nothing back. So I'll investigate. Then I verified that what he said was correct. That is money budgeted both this year, last year, the year before that. But can't same amount of money for the fine. I wasn't aware that he had a schedule time doing it. So I just wanted a discussion, but I think that's everything. They're satisfied. Spring. There was a good reason for wanting to early, and I think it's pretty obvious. Staging eyes, dark, wet ground in winter time. Certainly the time when you're going to least likely to see those things. So anyway, yeah, I'll withdraw that if I may. And
next one is update on bylaws resolution.
Right, and I handed out the minutes from the last meeting, or else I could have them away. You can read the minutes at your leisure. I'll just go to the back page of the committee's recommendations. And basically, it's I handed it out. No, it wasn't a meeting. I handed it out before the meeting show. Probably Tom took over your space.
She can have mine.
Right there.
Pass it then.
Now I'm accused of that.
Yes. No, you're not. You're
Just kidding.
you're accused of trespassing. Last page. Yeah, I recognize as they apply from time by and by. Basically, these are just housekeeping recommendations. There's nothing on here that hasn't been approved by the board already. Okay, so basically, well, first thing, and it's always by the board, they want to reinstitute cyclical resolutions, and basically that's been on an every 2 year basis. They want to look into doing certain ones that are triggered by annual events. Well, such as we have elections, so they want to look at that every year. Basically. They want to look at VAT payments, other payments. I'm trying to think of it. We have a meeting for that every year. At any rate, they want to clean up the hard copy and the web page where those resolutions the board's already taken action. We've done that on FO, done it on MO2. That was added into all of MO2. And shift place for both of them. FO5 we agreed to eliminate, take out, and take FO7 off. Well, FO7 goes back to the bulkheads. It's fast to the max. If you look at the web page now, it's still something being done. That was 2014. So we're just saying, hey, if somebody says something, then we'll look at it. And then lastly, look at MO2 and MO6 for amenities and elections. There's several things that have come up that have been addressed. So basically, the committee's Doug Fox is to the committee something and hopefully catch up.
Thank you, Dave. Any other questions or board? I don't think we have any pending action right now. Appointments we have Anne Marie
Wolfsheimer.
And Anne Marie wants to become a member of Aquatics. So I've already approved it as the board liaison. She wants to add her aquatic experience to the community. I believe my knowledge can help Oceanside grow construction. So I'm going to. We have to ask for a question. We have to ask for approval of this.
Yeah.
We'll make sure.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay. Call to the question. I mean, discussion.
All in favor?
In favor?
Aye.
Okay. Do you have any media questions? We have 2 media.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Merry Christmas.
Okay.
And a prosperous New Year.
Now, thank you.